Well, then, looks like Gabe released Left 4 Dead 2, and you didn't have to kidnap any family.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I didn't. I'll be right back.
God damn it, Vin. I told you not to kidnap anyone without me.
Hey guys, Vin here. I just want to tell you about Legends of Aetherius. It's available for pre-order right now for $24.99. But what it's about? Well, it's based on the Unity engine and it's a physics-based combat system. It includes traps, weapons, all that fun bit PvP, co-op single-player combat. You get to pick your own city-state or combat arena. Includes crafting and material systems. So it's just a whole lot of fun. Definitely check that out. And it's available at aetheriusgame.com. There'll be a link in the show notes. So have a go. It's worth your time.
Legends of Aetherius were born.
If you would like to promote your upcoming project, be it a game or whatnot, for as little as 35 wet, stinky cashes, trust me, there's other options available. Send us a note at show@LinuxGamecast.com for further details. Coming up on this, Linux Gamecast Weekly, Left 4 Dead 2 shows up along with Portal and Stealth Bastard Deluxe. Then we have some new Nvidia drivers and review time. Yes, we're throwing the chairs this week at Frogatto. All this plus your hate mail. Let's go. And welcome back to another Linux Gamecast Weekly, the show, the only show that covers the Linux gaming news. What goes on in the world? We got some reviews, interviews, and we always have how-tos. But this week, we're going to be covering a few things. First one, mainly, why do Kickstarter stretch goals suck? Then, Left 4 Dead 2 finally shows up for Linux. Jedi Academy gets a single-player port, and maybe a quirky little Polish game. It's funner than you might think. New Nvidia drivers. Then we're going to throw some lawn chairs at Frogatto, a quirky yet entertaining platformer. But joining me every week, and actually this week, from the Great White North in Canada on Fiber, finally, Masses Fang.
Yeah, it's Great White North, all right. I'm surrounded by white walls.
Except for that racist bookshelf. And
Except for that racist-ass bookshelf.
all the way from Portugal, our friend Massa Mateus.
With his racist-ass hat.
That hat is probably the most racist member of this entire show, but we'll get over it. Since we don't get a chance to really scream in each other's direction, more so than often not, this week we've just not had a chance to. So let's get started with what's been going on in our personal lives, since we know you're not interested and we're going to tell you anyway.
We've got internet in the new place. I'm in my little studio here.
What are the speeds? Tell us the numbers.
What are the numbers? Well,
us.
it's no Google Fiber, but this is Canada, so I get 50 megabits down, 7 megabits up. So that's
Better
pretty
than mine.
decent.
Hey, you're looking fantastic.
Well, you.
Oh, you. No, it's you.
It's you.
It's you.
All right, yeah, but other than that, I'm on some nice wired internet for a goddamn change. And yeah, everything's going swimmingly. How about you, P-Man?
Well, it's officially beta month in my neck of the woods. Neverwinter, which only runs on mine, but at least it runs. And two others, which I cannot disclose at this point because I'm under NDA. Well, two NDAs. So, yeah. Neverwinter does work really good under wine. I mean, as good as can be expected. There are still a few quirks, but they also happen to those people playing the native Windows version, so I'm not too worried about that. And the game is actually pretty fun. So
sounds
good on that.
fantastic. Over here, Not a whole lot. Been thinking about actually buying like an adult responsible car lately. Not going to bore you with that. Just like something that is not temperamental, doesn't like to catch on fire, or gets more than, 7 kilometers a liter.
You know what? I'm gonna throw this out there. I think you should get like a VW Bug or something.
I actually would love to buy. Well, you see, that's another problem. Like a Volkswagen Common Gear. Wouldn't mind having one of those, but that would be another Tinker car. I'm thinking maybe like a Chrysler Crossfire. But if you've been following me on Google Plus, you know that we now have like this massive video switching box. I thought it was, a couple of inputs, a little tiny thing. It's like, no, it'll take 35 480p inputs, and so I tore the cover off that, and it's all locked down proprietary stuff. So I'm kind of sending emails. It's like, if I take this cover off, will it explode? So we're kind of on hold with that until I get back with how all that's going to work. Outside of that, not much has been going on, but let's take our clothes off and whore ourselves out just a bit, sir.
Oh yeah, why don't we? You can check us out all naked and whatnot at linuxgamecast.com/podcast, where we got our lovely little RSS feeds for SD video, HD video, and SD audio. We also got some donation buttons, Amazon affiliate links, and our leaderboards, where if you give us money, we will put your name on our site. And also, if you give us $10 a month, you can put whatever the hell you want on this wonderful dude's hairy-ass face.
Boom, right there. And
yeah,
a nice little sign, you see. Somebody already sponsors this cup because it's Arch!
Arch!
And Master Svang needs to finally get around to making a sign now that he's made the move for his T Brown Memorial.
I need to get a little ribbon here for the T Brown Memorial microphone.
Just make sure it's pink and it dies of cancer.
Oh yeah.
But let's talk about our YouTube.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
We're on the
YouTube.
YouTube.
we got our YouTube channel, youtube.com/LinuxGamecast, where you can watch all our lovely little pointless videos. We got our favorite subreddit, the_reddit.com.
Still being molested by that ugly stick.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately.
I still insist that it looks like the first website I ever wrote in like 1990 whatever.
Yeah.
Also, you can check out our brand new thing, Game of Who.
Never heard of it. What is it?
Oh yeah, it's where we talk about Game of Thrones and Doctor Who, and it's fascinating stuff.
Why would you talk
by
about?
Fascinating, I mean absolutely crap.
Yeah.
But you know what? Why not? Give it a
Well,
look.
I think you got it right because, well, let's just be honest with him, Jordan, and also Pedro. He's in on it too.
Sometimes.
Instead of doing yes, technically it's a podcast. This is just a conversation about Doctor Who and Game of Thrones. Yeah, we're going to have anyway. So we just decided to record it since we got the video system and all that. And you might not like it, but that's
there
fine.
it is.
Yeah. You don't have to watch it.
Now it's time to put our clothes back on like respectable earthers and kick off into that. Hey, what's that?
No.
We
Hold on.
have a public service announcement.
We got
don't
PSAs, man. And here's
we
a PSA.
really need one of those the more you know graphics, but
yeah. Wham. I'm not even going to give this game credit by telling you what it is. What I'm talking about right now is Kickstarter projects and projects that say, hey, Linux stretch goal. Now, this project's already funded, but they said, if you give us an extra $100,000, we'll come up with a Mac and Linux port. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. You're doing it wrong. I'll tell you why you're doing it wrong. Because, all right, if you don't start doing your Linux development at Genesis, you're not going to follow. I'll tell you exactly how it's going to turn out. You're going to get to the end and you're like, oh crap, they funded it. And you're going to hire somebody like our buddy Flibbity. Yeah.
Slavity-doo.
Some call him Ethan. I don't know. I don't even think that's his real name. Or Ryan Gordon if you can afford him. And you'll end up with one version that runs on Linux that'll probably never get updated again. Not at any fault of whoever ported it. It's just because they don't get continued money from you to keep it updated. Or as what I like to call pretty much half of every humble indie Linux game that's ever been ported. Am I wrong in saying that, guys?
Yep.
Not wrong at all.
But our friend Flippity Shoobity Dabbity Doo,
here's the thing.
He's made his statement. He says, if you are going to have a Linux stretch goal and then ask me last minute, I will charge you the entire stretch goal amount.
You have been warned.
And that's something you need to keep in mind. So, I'm not going to publicly shame you, but just from now on, when I see, or any of us see, a Kickstarter that has the carrot of the Linux support, and especially this, I saw one today. Get this, guys. Jordan, Pedro, sit back, brace yourselves.
I'm
Brace
braced.
yourselves. Quit doing that, Pedro. That's creeping me out. They wanted a stretch goal to port their Unity game to Linux.
Because, you know, pressing that export button
so
takes a
I
lot of
think if
money.
they're going to dangle that carrot, we got to give them the stick.
I never looked at somebody so sideways, but you're absolutely right. Did that, but that's enough of that for our public service announcements. That's where we try to do a little bit of good for the gaming Linux every week. But how about we give some shit away, Master Spade?
Oh, well, is this Christmas, or are you a giant Nazi Santa Claus?
I am a giant Nazi. Shut up, Jew. Actually, these rules are dead simple. Screech over to LinuxGamecast.com, click on the forums, click on announcements. You'll see what's going on here. There's that horrible, horrible Nazi Santa Claus, also known as Vinstone, skull rings. If you can identify 3 things, you got 3 chances to win here. Manufacturer. Who made this drive? What did it come out of? What's the connection interface? And what is the capacity, compressed or uncompressed? You get a chance to win one of 3 copies of Tiny and Big's Grandpa's Leftovers. We'll send out some wet, stinky keys for Steam for that. It runs fine on the Linux or any other operating system, which is a bit awesome. We already have some people in here, Souluza, Kagumi, all that bit, Padsters even on that. Now,
So you better hurry up before all that gets claimed.
this is going to be closed. We're going to announce the winners next week, live on the air. And I can tell you, no one has hit any of the 3 just yet. But
You got time.
that said, one of you have gotten so close to one of the metrics that if no one else hits it, yeah, I'm going to give it to you, because that's just how it's going to work. You know, if you don't have to nail it.
Our contest rules are completely ad hoc.
Yeah.
We don't play by anyone's rules, not even our own.
Unfortunately, we don't have the wheel of Booga Booga yet, but
Not yet, but soon.
check that out.
We're developing that technology.
LinuxGamecast.com. Click on the forums. Get in there. Scream about that. We're not asking you to retweet or any crap like that, because that's just shameful for people to do. But
You should do it anyways.
oh man, does that smell choking you up, Pedro?
Yeah, it's.
I thought it was me for a
I'd
second.
be used to it by now, but I can't.
Well, you know, it does have its own flavor. Like fall
Yes, and I think we got to savor the flavor of our Steam Linux update of the week.
And as weak as that one was, this one's going to start out with Steam hardware and software survey for the month of April 2013. But more importantly, what we're looking at is the OS version, because we've dropped 0.13%, which I think is well within the margin of error. Is that right, bitches?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at it.
there hasn't really been much in the way of games released that would catch most people's attention, other than people who are out to support Linux devs and indie devs. But
And if you look at the stats, you'll see that Mac actually has a much bigger drop than Linux.
I think this is in like the area of error. I see what are you at? 0.34, but I see 1204 LTS 64-bit is at 0.23, even though that's down 0.05%. Man, that we're getting there.
Yep.
Yeah. And
I think
that
it's
initial. Oh, go ahead, Jordan.
I think it's still going to take a while for Steam on Linux to get some actual traction, because really there haven't been any AAA titles. But Steam Box on the horizon, we're going to start seeing that.
Well, even the Steam Box, man, especially when it comes down to AAA titles, you got to remember. I mean, of course but I mean, AAA titles take years to develop. So even if somebody said, like day one, when Steam said, I'm on Linux, we're looking at earliest late 2014 release.
Probably.
Yep. And, well, that initial awe of having Steam on Linux has sort of blown over. And there were plenty of devs that were using Steam as a testing ground. And now that it's officially reached a semi-stable level, they've kind of stopped using it. Kind of explains the drop.
Right on. So let's keep on screeching on here, man. Cause,
Portal.
Yeah.
Portal!
Hey.
I was kind of filled with...
On my Linux, it's more likely than you think.
Meh about this. I mean, yeah, it happened, and everyone, rightfully so flip the hell out. And I think the most entertaining thing I watched was everyone on Linux was like, oh, this works so fantastically on my Intel whatever. I was like, the game's like fucking 6 years old, man. It better run pretty damn good on your Intel integrated from 2013. You know what I'm saying, huh?
I hope they're gonna push out Portal 2 soon, just because it'll be another multiplayer source Linux title out there.
Yep.
But Portal 1 was pretty well loved.
Yeah, I've never really had a chance to play it, because that was, by the time I'd stallmaned out of like games, and I only played Linux native games. I had it because I gave it away for free, and in all honesty, I probably played like 3 minutes of it under wine. It was always a little bit herky-jerky, and I didn't want to invest the time, but I did spend a good 30 minutes with it. Enjoyed it. Runs fine, out of the box. No issues with it. Did you have any issues with it?
I haven't. I literally just got my internet connection back yesterday.
Well, I haven't had any issues, and I actually replayed the single player campaign, and I replayed it once more just because it's awesome. It's aperture science. We do what we must because we can, for the good of all of us, except the ones who are dead.
But, speaking of Portal 2, don't you know that Portal 2 is already available on Linux, Jordan?
No, really?
Yeah, clearly. From the most reliable Linux news gaming site, Fronix, Valve's very popular Portal and Portal 2. This is not a screen cap. This is what's live right now on the site.
Yep.
And has been. And I'm not even going to try to play Fronix. Oh, there's Steam.
Well, there's a via Steam powered. That's not a Fronix source.
Damn,
dude.
But Ven, you were saying like if Portal 2 comes out within like the next year, he's gonna be like, oh, I called it.
He will lay it down with a chalk and just like, see. But see, this is the thing that like terrified and frightened me. I was reading the comments, and it's like these people have fucking Stockholm syndrome when it comes. They just ignore it. There's like one or two who's like, Lurable, it's not out, and just nobody else addresses. Like, hey, Portal 1, Portal. And it's like, you guys are. And I think the best explanation I've ever heard, I said, well, 10% of Fronix news might be BS. And I was like, all right.
10% may be a bit generous.
Here's name one device that you would use that didn't work 10% of the time, and I would start with your car, your TV, your mobile, your computers.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not a good track record, guys. But I just wanted to throw that up there, and just please don't quote Phronix as a news source.
Friends don't let friends quote Phronix.
Oh, it's just painful. But, you know, some people don't like kidnapping other people's children, but some people will do it for the sake of the Linux gaming community.
Then, and I keep telling you, man, if you're going to go on a kidnapping spree, invite me along.
Listen,
Just pick up the phone and say, hey, Jordan, gonna go kidnap Gabe's kids, and I'll be like, sure, I'm down.
Dude, all right.
Or at least record it. Just record it. You know, for those of us that can't travel there, record it. I want to see it. Come on.
We're getting too much trouble, Jordan. A wax museum. That's all I need to say about that.
Yeah, wax museum.
Long story. Pedro, we might get you in, but you're going to have to start paying your own way because we keep on blowing the LGC budget with our kidnapo trips.
I thought it was the weaponized hamsters.
Yeah, but here it is, man. Bam!
Left 4 Dead.
This is our unicorn. This is the thing that was supposed to come out Tuesday, but according to Valve, it was released just on time, and I read that somewhere in a book that it was supposed to come out on Tuesday, and there was freaking promised that it was, which I read in a book somewhere, but it is
Valve time.
Out.
You know what? It's out. That's all that matters.
But I
really can't wait till we buckle down and do some LGC players of this.
Yeah, we're going to have some fun time with this. I do like this first little. Thanks to the efficiencies we were able to achieve with Linux, we skipped Valve time and are delivering Left 4 Dead 2 beta build today as planned. The beta build not only allows Linux owners to play the game natively, it also allows, or whatever, people on other operating, or whatnot. What do you think about it, Pedro?
I think it's freaking awesome. They did cut it a little close with the next
I saw your
week
comment
thing.
in the notes. Yeah.
They cutting it a little close, but other than that, good on them. Left 4 Dead 2 is freaking awesome. I have already sunk like 3 hours today into it. Yeah.
I only got a few minutes into it. I can say that Ubuntu 12.04, 32-bit, 560 Ti, latest Nvidia alpha beta drivers, 8-core AMD processor, 1080p stomps it. It doesn't even. Then again, it doesn't have to load 6 gigabytes of hats like Team Fortress 2. Loads
Soon,
and it's like boom, boom,
soon.
boom. What did you have? You haven't had a chance yet either.
No, like I said, I got my internet connection set up yesterday. I've been living without internet for the past
you're
week.
useless. Okay, but so that's a thing. Get it. We have a couple of copies. When it went on sale like a month, maybe 2 months ago, for like nothing. It was like £5. I picked up a handful of copies. Contest next week. We're giving out Left 4 Dead 2 for Steam on Linux. Keep that in mind. And of course, we're going to do it on a live stream. And we're going to make it to where if you don't redeem it on the live stream, we're giving it to somebody else. Because fuck you.
Yeah.
What's this, Pedro?
This is Receiver. It was created for the 7-day FPS challenge to explore gun handling mechanics, randomized levels, and unordered storytelling. It comes from the same people behind the Humble Bundles.
Well, Jordan had a good question. What is the 70 FPS challenge?
I'd assume basically you have a week to make a first-person shooter.
And that's kind of what they was like, we don't have time to render the bodies.
We don't have time to make textures.
No. Well, you got a week. You can only do so much.
I think you had some complaints with this game, though.
Oh, I had several. When it first came out, I saw it show up on our favorite subreddit. When it first came out, I'm like, okay, Wallfire Games. They released an FPS. Let's give it a go. Turns out the only binary available for the game was 64-bit. I am running 32-bit. Steam is 32-bit.
Quiet Satan.
All other Steam games are 32-bit. Why was that 64-bit?
Because stupidity?
Because it... but yeah, okay. As of May 2nd, there is now a 32-bit binary available, so if you get the game now, it's working. And
my biggest thing is just like looking at this. I mean, it's £4, 20% off.
Yep.
How did this get greenlit?
It's Wolfire. It's David Rosen.
Yeah.
And let me just say that the game is as intuitive as tying your shoelaces one-handed, and about as forgiving as a baseball bat to the teeth.
So it's a walk in the park, is what you're saying.
Tuesday, man. Tuesday.
I don't know, if you really like those gun simulators, give this one a go. Otherwise, skip it. No one's gonna blame you for it.
Well, then, you bastard.
Yeah, I'm a stealthy one on top of that. See, I switched right in. Oh, smooth, baby. Oh, yeah.
Like butter.
Bow wow.
Like Rocky Road.
No, we're talking about Stealth Bastard Deluxe, and let's talk about bastards for a moment. These guys, here's the key for the game, and review it. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna need 2 more of those, because guess what? I got one of these, and I got one of these. I'm a family man, you know. I gotta feed the chitlins. My 2 favorite crackers, and they never get back to me on that. So, screw that review. But I don't hold any of that against them. Actually, what I hold against them is I am sick and tired of these just retro, fake, interlaced graphics, mainly because I grew up in the NES days, in the Master System days, through the Genesis days. I've seen that, done that, have the t-shirts, and man, this game's boring as piss. I mean, outside of that, it's fantastic. And also, if you're watching live, it's 50% off because some idiot would actually pay $9.99 for it. Now, I'm being a bit harsh. What is it? Stealth games are awesome, period. Hiding from the man, comma, sulking. Nail biting, nope, no. No, that never happened.
You know, judging from the graphics, I had this whole joke ready about it being a Flash game.
That was my first thing, and I think Pizza Dude in the chat room, it might have been you, one of you, Chris, on G+, do you have a problem like the game stuttering? And I'm like, all right, that's just crazy speak. Then I finally get around to installing it. And you would think, you know, running, 560 Ti, latest, all that, with an 8-core, 3.6 gigahertz processor, it would be, fluid. Oh, you'd be wrong, because it's not. And back to your point, Master Matez, yeah, that would make me think it would be Flash, but
yeah,
nope. They found a way to cock up the, what engine was it?
Game Maker.
Game Maker 8 engine, and you, if it was you, Pizza Dude, yeah. And stuttering or no stuttering, it has no business. I mean, that's a calculator of a game. That's something that should be on my mobile or on my tablet. Has no business stuttering at 1080p. I mean, it has no resolution settings, no graphics settings. You can just embiggen it or ensmalling it. Shrinking it. Perfectly cromulent word, by the way. But, yeah, that just kind of pissed me off there. But it is what it is. It is available. Check it out if you're into that kind of business. Do you got any words on it? Looks like something you're ever going to play, Master Svang?
You know what? I saw it. It looked a bit interesting, but...
Can I remind you of something right quick?
Sure.
Has game controller support? Doesn't work.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I was sitting there
about
dying multiple times in this like little laser section of the tutorial. I was like, I could probably get around this if I don't know. The controller worked. How do you cock that up? But I mean, a platformer. If you're doing a platformer, maybe, just maybe, make sure the controller works. Gamepad support. Maybe. What do you think?
Yeah,
At this point, I think the rate of false retro platformer games on Linux is just way too damn high.
I don't have that graphic queued up, but it's going to be in the show notes, I assure you.
fix it in post.
Yeah. It's
yeah,
definitely there.
If you're going to build a platformer on PC, add some controller support.
Yeah.
Playing platforming on WASD is terrible.
And painful and arthritis, especially if you get like big hands that cover the entire keyboard and you have to do this
carpal tunnel.
Yeah.
Then I think we need to get you a special key pressing wand.
Well, maybe we could modify it off the one you use to wipe your ass. How about that?
I don't know. That one's pretty textured. And pretty wide. I don't think that's going to make a good button pressing rod.
Well, then again, it is kind of expensive because you got that aerodynamic carbon graphite type. Anyway.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, short story long.
As soon as it becomes available, I'm getting the graphene version.
Sweet. And welcome back to the news. This is where we're going to talk about the latest news going on in the Linux gaming community. And first up, it's kind of big. New version of the Nope. Just kidding.
No.
AMD doesn't do Linux. Well, they do, but they always cock them up. This is a real Linux driver from Nvidia. This is 319.17. It's got a couple of fun things coming in with it. Added support for the following GPUs. I'm not going to read them all off, but GTX 650 Ti Boost is in there. The GT 735 Mobile, GeForce GT 740 Mobile, and the 750 Mobile. They did manage to fix the X-Server crash when you constantly, molest your input-output displays, setting all that up. Doesn't crash anymore, and they removed the X-Cursor shadow, which never worked. So I doubt you'll miss it. Crap that's no longer in there. Master Sving, what are your thoughts?
There's a few more bits that's interesting for Optimus support, but that's going to trickle in release after release. I'm going to take a crack at it sometime this week. But currently 3.13.18 is doing me fine. I haven't really run into any issues with it so far.
Yeah, and we just touched on it. I mean, there are a ton of things in here.
Yeah,
this is a significant update for the driver. And I don't know about on Fedora, but if you're on Ubuntu derivatives, definitely check out Xorg Edge's PPA, because within 2 hours, this was up, or you can do what I do, and which is a stupid amount of alchemy in itself, which is one of the reasons I loathe Ubuntu, is install the drivers manually. I mean, just getting to an actual console to do that under Ubuntu is a pain in the ass. Pedro, you have nothing to say about
Sudo bash.
Absolutely nothing, because the one Nvidia card I have running at this point is only compatible with the 310 legacy drive.
Put that mic a little closer to your face. We're not picking you up quite as hot as normal. There you go.
I really haven't moved it.
Now you're perfectly fine.
Well, that's weird.
Maybe a little short in that circuitry. But that's out. That's available. Check it out for yourself. Find your own repos. Now, this next little bit, I'm going to have to talk about it, J-Man. Is it okay if I do that?
Go right ahead.
Okay. And lean into the mic when you're talking, son.
I'm sorry, Mr. Microphone mambly pambly thing.
Just call me daddy. Just call me daddy.
I can hero Demon Hunters who's entering those Linux testing.
It is. I mean, for the past 3 or 4 days, it has been in a closed Linux beta. And it works. It's a Unity game. It's currently only available as a deb. Here, let me just go ahead and...
Again.
Yeah.
Again with the debs.
But
Yes.
one thing we've learned is extracting a deb and making it run. And if it's a Unity game, piece of cake.
Well, yeah.
So I guess they'll sort that out later. It's all right. It is going to be a free game, but it's one of those games where, you know, if you want to move 20 paces quicker or basically, if you want to actually experience and have fun with the game, you're going to have to give them some wet, stinky cash.
Free to play, pay to win.
Yeah. And that's one thing I don't like. Games like this, you know, when it eventually is, and trust me, it's Unity. I don't know why they're bothering with the testing so much other than just get their client down. But with games like this, I would love them to just give me an option on this game to, it's like, all right, instead of just being free, let me give you 25 quid and play the game as it's meant to be instead of trying to nickel and dime me. I mean, this is not, you know, Farmville or Demonville or whatever you want to call it.
Demonville. I like that better.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's out there. So something to check out. Keep your eyes on it because, like I said, the Linux client, it works. You download it, you play it, you have fun with it. We'll definitely, we've already got the story written for it with all the instructions, and as soon as that goes live, we'll publish it. What do we got up next, man? Luke, I am your friends, brothers, cousins, roommates, something.
Yeah, Jedi Academy's out on Linux.
Yeah, well,
That it got ported by the end of April.
I'm thinking maybe I might have said, oh yeah, that's right, I called it bitches.
You called it.
You and everyone else, then.
And by everyone else, I'm the only one who publicly said I said by the end of April.
I figured by the end of the month it would be ported. I said as much on the show.
Yeah, sure you did. Lies. All of it.
Especially what you said. But anyways.
But Leopold, he threw out, this is the second part here, something else we're going to put in the show notes, but it is available on his GitHub. Has the binaries included. If you're listening to the live stream, screech over there right now. You can pick up a copy of this on Steam. I think it's like $4, maybe $5.
Something like that.
It's stupid cheap. They're having a sale. Works fine. Take those data files, throw it over into your base directory, precompiled binaries. Oh, there, you don't have to worry about it because this guy doesn't understand how to use make files.
Code blocks, then.
Of course
code
not.
blocks.
Yes,
All
forced
code
me
blocks.
to install code blocks just to test some things. But I got some good news, which will also be in the show notes. The guys from behind the IO Quake 3,
Yep.
they've released multiplayer versions of both of them. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to throw that in the links for the live show, but they're going to be in the show notes under this direct in line. So definitely check that out. And not to take away anything from Jochen Leopold. He's did fantastic work. And I mean, just good on him for what he's accomplished. But like I said, the IO Quake 3 guys, they have added the multiplayer, and you do have to build it some. No big deal.
Yeah.
You build it from makes with the source. Big deal. Piece of cake. Quick, if you don't have the libraries installed to do that, you really shouldn't be running with a Linux. So, this
This
came out
is
of
pretty
nowhere.
cool.
Yeah.
How's your Polish, then?
I've learned the fuck out of some Polish, son.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But this is a nifty little platformer that some Polish university students made.
says Wolny Kapjokte.
Czerwony Kapczurka.
Little Red Riding Hood. It's good, no?
Yeah, it's pretty
Czerwony
nifty. You
Kapturek.
shift into between alternate dimensions to solve little puzzles. It's a nifty little puzzle platformer. I
Completely
like it.
hand-drawn.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was the other cool thing.
Yeah.
You don't see that too often
It's
anymore.
actually a beautiful little... And that's like one of the things... When you see something like this, it's like, oh, it looks real. They spent time with the atmosphere. They got the sounds with it. It ties together very nice, huh?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Pedro?
Okay, kids. Lesson number 1. Learn how to
Oh,
make your
you
game.
get ready. Here comes
not-
the Portuguese rage.
Yeah. Learn how to make your game not fuck with people's multi-monitor configs. It's really easy.
Hey, Pedro? Pedro?
Yes?
How about you learn to create, separate X sessions for your fucking monitors?
I have. But I decided I didn't like how that was working for me, so instead I'm using fake Zenorama.
So you're using a laptop and a monitor attached to a laptop,
Yep.
and you're bitching about something not being able to figure out that kludge. Gotcha. Go ahead.
Yep.
Just clearing
Because
Yeah.
most games at this point actually do not have a problem with that. They default to full screen, like Valve games. They default to full screen to one of the screens, and that's it. But okay, they're students. I'm gonna give them a free pass, and I'll give them this. They get an English version going and allow people to set up their resolution and windows and full screen modes properly before the game starts. They're golden.
That's one thing
Hey,
I realized
and,
by
and you know what? It's open sauce. So if you don't like it, change it.
completely
Change it.
open source. Now, there's going to be a link. You can find it directly right now on Linux Gamecast just to save you from just digging around in the Polish website, and you don't speak and say Polish. But it does look like they are looking for some English translations. We are looking for people with knowledge of English. To be done, perfect location. Volunteers, welcome to department contact. So
yeah,
it's either
so
that.
get on that.
Bring your own mayonnaise. That's probably a good idea. But as Massus Feng said, the code is completely open source. GPL3, you can get it. They get their own repository for it. It's a pretty game. I mean, it looks like pro code. It reminds me a lot of Braid.
Yeah, it kind of has a bit of a Castlevania 2 vibe as well with the night and day stuff. Except this is alternate dimensions or whatever the hell it is. I don't read Polish, so
Yeah, and that's one thing I definitely learned is you can actually, I mean, the game is completely in Polish, but you can figure out how to run it. It doesn't take too much work.
Everything is where you expect it to be.
Yeah.
So
And there'll be a link to the official blog in Polish, which is at, I'm not even messing with that,
Czerwony
.wordpress.com.
capturek at .wordpress.com.
Yeah.
CZ is ch in those languages.
That's
But
the thing.
anyways,
I think
that'll
that,
wrap it up.
Yeah, it's going to do it
Yep.
for the news.
Pretty much.
And welcome back to that most brutal section of Linux Gamecast Weekly. That's where we throw lawn chairs. We call them review chairs, some call them happy fun chairs, but they're still chairs, and they're still directed at games, because that's how we review games here on the Linux Gamecast. Now, to make sense of this, we like to have something called Chaisplanation. you get one of 3 chairs. 1 being nope, 2 means check it out, and 3, shut up and take our monies. But those only apply to the categories. 1, makes with the working. 2, shiny and sounds. 3, being our subjective category, controls and fun. Now, you've already put together, this is a brutal system, but is that how we do things, guys?
Yeah, ours is the Tomb of Horrors of Linux gaming review systems. It's a meat grinder. You go in and you're very lucky if you manage to get out.
I mean, look at this guy. He went through it one time. He turned out Portuguese.
Look at him.
It's brutal, but here we go. We're throwing the chairs this week at Frogatto and Friends. Also available on the App Store. We'll just pretend that didn't happen. But version 1.3-other is out. Now, to understand what Frogatto is, you have to understand old school platformers. Now, we've seen this a lot, right, J-Man?
Yeah, I'd say so. Every other weeker.
Yeah, we get a lot of, I mean, we even talked about it early in this episode, and I was like, kind of sick of these pixelated whatever type games. You've seen a couple of yourself, haven't you, B-Man?
He's seen too many from his professional reviewing days.
He's seen things.
Those cocaine-fueled days.
But Frogatto.com is where you can grab a copy of this. And what is it about? Basically, you're a frog, I'm guessing. A frog with some scissory, mouthy business going on. We'll take a look at the trailer while I'm explaining this.
Basically, you're kind of like Yoshi. You eat things and you spit them at other people.
I never thought of looking at it that way. You are Yoshi, except you're small.
Yep.
Yeah, you're a small Yoshi who can occasionally breathe fire and do other stuff, and has more platformy stuff.
And it's all right. I
guess if we want to start griping about it, we better start into the mix with the working category, because.
Yeah, I guess we should.
Oh yeah. So Ven, did it work?
Boom. Makes with the working. Well, let's talk about this. J-Man, we're going to have a difference of opinions on some things. I'm going to give it... Oh, let me just tell you. I downloaded the Git. Cloned the Git. All 1.3 gigs of it. Seemed a bit extensive. Ran the makefile. Remember, kids, J... number of cores for your processor. That option's your friend.
+1.
Yeah. It compiled without issue. I had all the libraries installed. All fun. Put together. So I have to give that, bam, right there, 3 cheers, because for me, and this is something J-Man's going to take issue with, when it's an open source game like this, it doesn't cost anything, and the Git's available. I ignore the library. It doesn't matter if it's for Debian, if they got packages for anything. I immediately just go to compile it because I want the freshest, nastiest, wettest, stinkiest things they have. But J-Man.
You know what? I clone Git. It took me a second to realize that the main clone doesn't actually have the makefile in it. You gotta check out a branch. So I did that, compiled it. Was missing a few dependencies, found them. They're all listed in the README. Yeah, and it worked well. The only reason I'm not gonna give it 3 chairs is because we typically reserve 3 chairs for, like, if you extract it or install it and then click on it, it will work. This required.
Do you think that's maybe something we need to clarify? Because it works out of the box means it works out of the box. For me, maybe it should be clarified. Maybe we need to all have a little circle
powwow.
jerk, yeah, or powwow, And if it builds, you know,
If you can wget make install and it runs. But anyways, like it runs fine. It's not difficult to get working in the slightest. It's really just a matter of three chairs for this categories means that it's supposed to work like right out of the box. I should just be able to download something and run it. This wasn't the case. It required, albeit a very minute amount of work. It still required work, so I'm gonna give it 2 chairs.
2 chairs, you say? 2 chairs, which, you know, when you say it like that, sir, is very fair, because you got to realize. Now, granted, you are watching a videocast, podcast, or you might be listening to us. You should be watching us live about Linux games. And granted, we're a bunch of developers, and our first thought is, yes, let's clone the Git. You might not even know what a Git clone is, in all fairness. So Jordan is completely right about that, and I respect his opinion on giving it 2 chairs. But, P-Man.
Okay. A lesser man would have given up at the point when he realized that he needed libpng15 and he was stuck with libpng12 in a dead distribution. But, okay. I had to recompile the whole damn thing with libpng12 using some very, very dirty hacks that will probably break my system down the line, or then again, probably not, since I'm not going to receive any updates. So I actually had a 1 chair score in this category, but 1 chair is reserved for unvanquished type games that even after compiling, they just don't work. And even with all the work I had to put on it, I'm still going to give it 2 chairs.
Bam. 2 chairs. So that's going to cover it with Mix for the Working. What's our next category, J-Man?
Well, that would be shiny and sounds. Now, Ven, was it shiny? Did it sound?
Ooh. Wow. That could be a bit difficult. And when I say a bit difficult, I mean, not really. Here's the one thing. Let me just go ahead and get this going while I'm talking. Honestly,
this looks like a SNES game.
Yeah, I've seen a ton of games. And we talked about earlier about Stealth Bastard Deluxe. You know, doing the whole fake retro thing, and that's one thing that really made me happy about this. This captures the look of early SNES games, and it doesn't seem like they're forcing it down your throat organ. But I'm gonna have to dig it just because of that. But then I gotta ding it because, well, you know, as much time as they spent making it look right and feel the way it should, yeah, the sounds were stupidly repetitive to the point where I just took, you know, the headsets off my ear pussies and put them down. So I got to give it 2 chairs on the shiny and sounds. Yes, it looks good. It captures the feel for what it is, but on the sound category, it needs a metric F ton of work, J-Man. Bring it.
I don't really mind the music that much, and really mind the sounds all too much. Yes, I am.
Where are your glow sticks? Oh, that's right. You're moving. You don't have them out yet.
Yeah, they're in boxes somewhere. But yeah, I agree with Vin. For what it is and for what it sets out to do, it looks really good. It looks like a SNES game. I was impressed. And quite frankly, I was impressed enough to give it 3 chairs. So, yeah, P-Man.
I think for what it is, it fits. The graphics fit, the music fits, like you guys already mentioned. It captures the spirit of the old SNES, and well, it was called Genesis in the US. Here, I can't even remember what it was called. So
Mega
Genesis.
Mega Drive, yeah.
Well, the Mega Drive was the original Sega Master System.
No, the Mega Drive was the
Oh, you
European
have the
version
Japanese
of the
Mega Drive.
Genesis.
Oh, right, all right.
Yeah. But yeah, it does capture that atmosphere.
God hates Portugal.
Unfortunately, it also captures the repetitiveness of the background music, like Ven mentioned. And to me, yeah, it starts making my ears bleed, so it gets what it's fair, and it's 2 chairs.
Bam.
Wow. That's a bit. So I guess we're going to have to get to our subjective portion of this. And that is our control and fun. Now, you might remember earlier we were talking about hipster-tastic, Fox interlaced, boring-ass graphics from Stealth Bastard Deluxe. Which pretty much required a gamepad support to actually be playable. Greenlit on Steam, it works, except the controllers do not work, at least for me, under Linux. This, however, is open source game of fun gamepad support. Worked out of the box, didn't have to mess around with it, just plugged it in. Boom, Bob's uncle. But man, the input was stupidly wonky. It kind of flowed like this. If you're just walking normally, it felt a bit sluggish. Then you jumped. It's some of you old people, because this is really before my day, but my first hand-me-down computer had a turbo button on it. It felt like every time I jumped, Frogatto Scissor Tooth Demon Slayer went into turbo mode. It was like sludge, whoomp, and they would jump like that. So it kind of made, considering it's a platformer, that was a bit wonky. Did enjoy the sense of humor, granted. The outhouse save points, that's nice. Conversations, all that, skipped all through that. Graphics good, shiny, yeah. But at the end of the day, being a platformer with that critical flaw from just the speed differences, even in the arcade modes, and which the arcade modes all kind of fun, coin collecting, speed run, all that. Yeah, I gave it a solid 30 minutes before I had to nope out of it, because I kept getting killed by the inconsistencies in the controls. So I get to the one chair. J-Man.
My controller was packed away in a box, so I had to play with the keyboard and mouse. I didn't really see any input problems, so that might have just been a keyboard or a mouse or a gamepad specific thing. So yeah, I had fun playing it. It's not a blast, but I mean, I'll give it 2 chairs.
So, I wonder how it's going to stand up to the Portuguese rage.
Portuguese rage.
Hey, Pedro, did you used to review games professionally?
Yes. And in order to maintain some shred of credibility as a reviewer,
we've trained him to say it himself. Isn't that impressive?
Yeah. I like to play games for at least 5 hours. At least. Game, in my opinion, needs... Well, it's either really short, like Portal, which you can finish in like 2 hours, but it wasn't the case with Frogatto. I played it for...
Pedro, don't you know there's like leet wall hacks and stuff in Portal? Wait, that's for Windows users. Go ahead.
No, I mean, Frogatto, you pretty much already covered most of the points I was going to make, so I'll just add one extra one. Does Linux really need one more fake retro-looking platformer / RPG type game?
This one's been around a lot longer than our current influence. So I think, you know, even though you say that, and I'm not one to step on anyone else's chairs, but this one predates most of them that you're trying to make a point of.
Yeah, 2010.
Maybe so. Then again, there are a lot of them already.
But you gotta admit, this one...
Okay, maybe this one started it all. It still deserves one share.
Like we said, Portuguese rage, ladies and gentlemen.
Rage. Look at him go. It's like a toddler having a hissy fit.
That's all it is. That's all we are. Period. So, just to recap. Chairsplanation. 1 chair is nope. 2 chairs, check it out. 3 chairs, shut up and take our monies in those 3 categories. Mixed with the working, shiny, and sounds, and controls and fun. Since you did
There's a little
Since you did it,
snafu.
Pedro, give them the verdict.
There's a little snafu with our final score, because if we sum all the chairs we've given him and then divide them by 9, we get 2. But if we sum the total scores of each of the categories individually and divide it by 3,
Which
you
is the
get
way
1.
it's supposed to be done, and we lowball it.
And
So,
since
1
that's
chair.
the way we're going to do it,
BAM! 1 chair.
yep.
With an asterisk. Of course, as all our 1 chair games, except the really bad ones, tend to get. There's a caveat in
Yeah.
there.
Well, all right.
get
Instead
1
of the
chair 'cause
asterisks,
it's
let's
what
just
they
go ahead and give
deserve.
our recap. I'll give you my recap of Frogatto. I enjoyed it. I found it a bit stupidly demanding for what it was. System-wise, it seems like it was chewing up a lot of resources, considering that it is subpar to the original Mario Brothers on the SNES. And I'm sure that was written in under 200K, and this thing's over 200 megabytes.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's sloppy codings all around. Fun game. Impressed by the controller support. Like that they captured the style of the original SNES. Things going, that's Super NES for you chitlins out there. You're my favorite crackers, though. I love you. That said, is not a whole lot to it. 4x3, I would like some expanding on that. There's no need to keep it that old school. I liked it. Built from source. Happy with that. J-Man.
Yeah, I'd say about the same. I like the game. The initial Git clone was pretty lengthy. Don't know why. Don't know why the game is that size. Yeah, I liked it. But the numbers, they are a harsh mistress. Those launchers, man, they will mess a brother up.
Well, another piece of random trivia. In Portugal, the SNES was called the Famicom.
Super Famicom, actually.
No, the first one was just called Nintendo, and then the SNES was called Famicom.
I
Wow,
have an
you have a
ingrown
screwed
toenail.
up country because the Super
I
Famicom.
know, right?
Special.
So yeah, for this game, unfortunately, it's a retro-looking platformer under Linux, and that's going to cause my jaded opinion to be, well, jaded as it is. and unfortunately, I can't really praise it for what it is, which is it's a Yoshi's Island clone.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think that
That about wraps it up.
it's going to do it for the review. Yeah. So, Jordan, if say somebody wanted to scream back in our direction, where do you think they would go?
I think they would go to hell. Alternatively, they could go to our submission page on LinuxGamecast.com.
You mean we have one of those?
Yeah, we got one of those. We also got a nice little forum. We got our little email address, show@linuxgamecast.com.
Yeah.
You can talk at us, and occasionally we'll talk back.
So,
And occasionally we'll talk smack.
do you think that's a good... is it a good idea to actually let them communicate with...
Audience, I'll let you be the judge.
Pedro, what are your thoughts on this? I'm kind of indifferent at this point. I haven't made my mind up.
Yeah, well, let's open up one of these mails and see. Let's see if
What
that
does
shapes
the
our
Mexican
opinion.
Tony Stark have to say?
I do like the input.
Giggity.
Well, Sion Rosenblum sent us a little note emotron,
Bam!
and bam, he says, "Love the Cubeman 2 review, and thanks for the 2 chairs."
Now, why does that mean anything?
Because he's the guy who wrote, or he's one of the creators of Cubeman 2.
No, he is the sole creator.
Sole creator.
Yeah, there's no development team behind CubeMan or CubeMan 2. It's all this man right here. I'm not even trying that. Rosenblum. But
Rosenblum.
he
Sean
screamed back
Theon.
in our direction. He was like, yeah, I appreciate the 2 chairs. And that's
Wait.
good.
You mean to say that a game
Yes.
developer actually
Yes,
enjoys our system?
absolutely.
Sweet.
This isn't the first time this has happened, Pedro. I don't know why you're surprised.
Shh. He forgets.
All right, he's new. We might frighten him away.
Yeah,
Um,
I just don't want him remembering the other stuff we've done to him.
Oh, please. I gave him enough friggin' PCP that he's not going to remember any of that.
So wait.
My shrink would disagree.
But no, man, Sion,
Well, it's good to hear back from you, man.
it
Enjoy
was
the lawn
fantastic
chairs.
of you screaming back in our direction, and you can, guys, like we said, you can do that anytime you want. No promises that we're going to play on the show or anything like that, but we'll always get back to you in one way or either. But this
From Gustavo.
actually,
Around.
yeah, this struck a chord with me. Gustavo, enjoying
Yep.
educational Linux games. If someone wants to learn Japanese and play a Linux game, look at,
Learnj.com.
well, it's kind of
LRNJ.com.
struck a chord with me because this is old school, man. This game's been around forever.
Yep.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, man, this is like one of the first games I learned kanji on. Well,
Wow,
the first games.
man.
Like, this is like, go.
Well, it's $25 for...
The full version, but you can get
Yeah.
the demo. But no, this little guy right here killing these slugs, I was doing this in like 1990 something, man.
Okay, I only found it a bit later. It was actually making the rounds among my friends in like 2001, 2002.
Right
It was a trip down nostalgia lane. Thanks for that, Gustav.
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. You know, learn, konnichiwa, bitches, and all that fun stuff. We only have one person. I mean, I couldn't imagine who it is that only speaks one language, but There's only
Yeah, I'm a product of the faulty North American education system. For a while, I spoke pretty good French, but then I forgot that because of some vaguely pedophilic French teacher in high school. Let's not get into it.
Jesus fait
Tu ne parles pas français, Jordan?
Mes amis?
Je parle un petit peu.
Un petit peu.
How do you say tous les mots, mes amis?
Don't remember where I was. Yeah, let's not do that.
Life was a game.
But remember, if there's one thing to take back from this feedback section, Dave Mustaine, please get back on the cocaine.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
No, but check this out. I are in J.com because Linux can also be educational. There's also Tux Paint. Look that up. This is fun because this kind of get me semi-interested in Japanese. And, a couple of months back, well, like 2 months back, I did a Japanese language podcast. And I'm not saying I did a good job of it, but they weren't completely laughing at me. It was like, there was a...
Well, that's because they don't laugh.
Massive Swing, there was a lot more, than type shit. And I was like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'm with Maddie on this
if you
one.
want
We
the
need a
link,
for
donate
that.
$10 a month.
Yeah. Those links will cost you, but that feedback, as we said, man, you can definitely check it out. Wait, hang on. Cue the music!
Yeah.
Boom, right there, LinuxGamecast.com. We get all the fun stuff, the fun bits, man. We got categories. News, Steam news. Linux Gamecast Weekly, that's the show you're listening to right now, live. And if you're watching this in podcast form or listening to it in your ear pussies, man, check it out live. You get to see all the in-between bits. LGC players, we're going to be playing some Left 4 Dead 2 shortly. Android how-tos, regular B-reel, raw footage. We got our forums. We got that contact metric that we just talked about. Check us out on our podcast. All the information there. We got Amazon affiliate links. We even got it for you Brits. Man, come on. We even did that. So buy some wet, stinky merchandise from us. On top of that, we got some PayPal links. Check us out. You can give us a one-time donation. Or, since we hate sea monsters, about $3.50 a month. You give us about $3.50 a month. God damn it. Donate us.
That's why it keeps coming back.
We'll put you on the recurring donation board, and you can plug if you get a sign. What do you think?
Yeah, if you donate
$2,000
$10 a month.
people a week, gonna see it. But if you want to pony up for 10 wet, stinky cashes a month, I know times are tough, man. I know, trust me, times are tough. But if you do that, you get access. Now, this might not sound fun, but trust us. It is. You get access to our show notes live as we type them throughout the week. So not only do you know what we're going to talk about, chances are you're going to get the latest breaking, that's not released yet type of news.
And occasionally you'll watch us bicker in text form as opposed to bicker on voice and video.
Yeah.
Yep.
Voice and video. It's almost like it's a multimedia type of experience.
It's a smorgasbord.
But always, as we say, check us out with that. Watch us live. LinuxGamecast.com/live. Check us out on the YouTubes. YouTube.com/LinuxGamecast. You can check out all of our previous episodes if you're not into just downloading them regularly. We got the how-to sections, we got our player sections, like I said, Left 4 Dead 2 coming up shortly. Popular uploads, playlists, all that business. Favorite subreddit, always screaming their direction, even though they have been sexually molested with the ugly, limey, creamy stick.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd give him some penicillin, that'll clear up in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
We can only hope. But there they are, Linux_gaming, and our little project that we like to do on the side with this fantastic gentleman here, Master Sphang. And Pedro, it's called Game of Who, because maybe you don't have time to watch a Doctor Who podcast and a Game of Thrones podcast. Fuck it. Game of Who. 2 birds, 1 chainsaw. That's all you need, and it's us, your favorite, harmless, lovable fuzzballs, coming back to you yet again in stereo.
Stereo.
For something that is not related to Linux and or gaming, so you get to hear our thoughts on that business. But
So yeah,
since
Ben,
our music is about to run out,
Ben, tell them how to stalk us real quick.
e-stalking me, Vinstone at Vinstone plus Vinstone on the G pluses. This Mexican right here, he can be found. He is the Pedro. Whoops, wrong button. Mateus at unaccounted for plus Pedro Mateus on the G pluses. He is our favorite Portuguese person with 2 fingers. And this peaceful Zen Buddhist motherfucker right here, he is Master Sphang, the only, the one, the original, the burning fool on the Twitter nets. Plus Jordan Sphang on G+. Do not dare question what he says or he will kill you with his massive Sphang.
And my massive Sphang.
It's a horror story. I'm not even going to expose you guys to it, so...
Yeah.
Let's wave at the lovely people!